is green, under the 3 feet of snow, I mean.
Hello and welcome once again. This is the Paranormal NightStalker, and I am Joel Walling. Of course, with me as always, my cohort and co-defendant, depending on how all of this show goes, Michael Smith. And this week, we have a special guest with you. Besides all the other normal insanity and crap that we always cover on here, we're going to go on into. This week, we have a very special guest that's going to be we did a pre-recorded interview earlier this week, and going to be putting it on for you. And I'm telling you, this is one of the hands down the best interviews or segments or whatever you want to call this we've ever had. It could have went on and on, but the fact of it is my battery on my laptop was dying, and that is what cut it off. But it could have went on and on and on and on. But anyway, we have Mellanie Dawn of the Military Veterans Paranormal. Now, this is a group made completely up of either active duty or veterans from all branches of the military. Mellanie herself, I believe, was a combat medic in the U.S. Army. I'm hoping I have that right. I actually meant to email and get her rank and everything, but I totally forgot to do that because as the song stated at the beginning, I'm under just about 3 feet of snow, or at least it was then, but now it's only about 2 feet of snow and about a foot of water, because now what was supposed to be snow is now turned into rain, and it's been raining pretty much nonstop for the past day and a half, which I don't have to shovel rain, so I'm not that upset about it. But at the same time, the road into and out of the village is flooded. So yeah, we're just kind of just holed up and stuck here, which that's fine, whatever. But anyway, like I said, Mellanie did a great interview. She is absolutely one of my favorite guests of all time. Simply is all there is to it.
She was just a blast.
Yeah, it was. It's like I said, that interview, it could have went on and on and on, but like when we finally, I got tangled up in stuff when I was first moving in to my recording room. I got tangled up, all my cords and everything, and I was running behind, so I was like, crap, just grabbing stuff. And I didn't grab my charger, my cable that goes to my laptop. I didn't grab my power cord. So I was like, it's fine, I won't need it. I got battery life, just go on with it. Well, turns out I was slightly wrong on that, because I did end up needing it. Because like I said, this could have went on for God knows how long, but the fact of it is, when we finally said our goodbyes and everything, my computer was at 13%. And that just is not a good thing, just simply put, it was about to die. And I was like, oh crap. Because like, I wanted to keep it going. I would have kept it going as long as she would have stayed. I would have kept it going with it. Yeah, it's just that simple. As long as she wanted to talk, I would have kept on going, because it was just that great of an interview. And a segment. And if you want to go in, you want to give them a little details about, like some of the stuff we went into or anything like that?
Well, I have to say that they have got their stuff together. I mean, they tackle an investigation because they're all military, and they have that military mindset. They're very goal-oriented. Their investigations, if they've told you they've investigated a place, you can bet it's been investigated. I mean, they really don't play. I'm sure they have fun and do their stuff, but they know their stuff. They don't claim to be experts. They have a complete list of outside professionals, and by that I mean acoustics and video people and seismologists they use, and geologists, and I mean, if they want to know what kind of people say, it's sitting on limestone. Well, let's find out. They'll say, well, the house is on limestone, and lime becomes the conductor. Well, let's find out. So they call a geologist and have a survey done to find out what's under the house. I mean, they got their stuff down.
They actually think of stuff that we don't, and that's hard to do. Actually, it really is hard to do. They go to a level that we don't, and they have some great information. I know one of the things we ended up talking about was one of the investigations that they had done, which this place was made famous off of Ghost Adventures, Bob Mackey's Music World. And they give she doesn't give a lot of detail because of the fact that I told her I wanted to investigate, and she doesn't want to corrupt anything with what I might find or what I might do. But she gives some of the details in it. It has nothing to do with, the actual investigation or evidence that she collected. Or actually, she doesn't even call it evidence, does she? It's data.
They call it data.
Yeah, it's data. That's that's all they call it.
And they're actually correct because there is no evidence of anything.
Yeah.
And
that's
you and I talked about that. Actually, the problem is when you get in the habit of calling something, that's what you call it.
Well, yeah.
But they are correct.
It's like, it was like the first time, it's like the first time I looked at, when we were doing a live stream with PNBC and I said, ghost hunters. And after we got off, I think it was Dan looked at me. It's like, I thought you hated being called a ghost hunter. It's like, I do. But that's what everybody recognizes. And that's what it is. It's what, us as investigators, that's what we collect. We collect evidence, even though it's not really evidence. It's just raw data.
Not only do they investigate things, the thing that struck me most about it that I really appreciated a lot is they do a lot of work with the veterans with PTSD. If you're a veteran and they verify that you're a veteran, they don't turn you away. If you want to come investigate with them or be part of their thing in some capacity or whatever, you're welcome. They won't turn you away.
Yeah, and she is actually working on getting this set up in more than the places than what she is now. And that's another thing that I thought is incredible. When she was like, they turn, and it doesn't matter. Like I said, I believe she said she was a combat medic. And it's the base that's there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is Army. So I'm pretty sure she is a, Army. But anyway, they have, airmen, they have Marines. It doesn't matter. If you were part of the U.S. Armed Service, then you can be part of this group. She needs either a active duty Department of Defense identification card or a copy of the DD-214.
Yeah,
as she said, there's going to be no, what did she call it?
Stolen valor.
Stolen valor, exactly. And I don't want to give too much more of the interview away because believe me, like I said, it's incredible. And in fact, we're going to get everything, what we normally do at the end, we're going to do it all up front and now so that it's over and done with and you just listen to the interview, finish it and be done. You don't have to, you're not going to listen to us with the cavalcade of shameless pluggings and all of that because it was long before, but now since we've started the network, it's twice as long. And I do have to get into some of that. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the interview?
No, I think we're good. That won't be surprised.
Okay. Well, then let's get into the shameless pluggings of the week. Of course, this past Wednesday, sorry, my brain kind of petered out on me there. We had Dark Side of the Paranormal with June Lundgren and Wendy Stanton, where they got into part 2 of their exclusive behind the scenes kind of look at Ghost Adventures. Their time on there in the Graveyard of the Pacific miniseries that they did with the 3 episodes. Oh, excuse me. It had Aaron Collins, also from Paranormal Crossings Into the Unknown, was on there. Him and his wife did one part. June and Wendy did another part. So they've talked about this. They've really gone into in depth into what goes on behind the scenes, working with Zach, working with, all of that.
Okay.
So that came out this past Wednesday. Of course, tomorrow night is Aaron's podcast, Paranormal Crossings Into the Unknown. And it's going to be, actually introducing a guy that's going to work part-time as his co-host. He's also part of Northwest Paranormal and formerly with the, podcast Anarchy Radio. His name is James Mitchell. He's going to be the guest on there. Of course, tonight, beside our podcast, there's also going to be, UCF with Ryan Stacy. This is episode 16. Honestly, I'm not totally sure what he's covered in this. I have to get the update on that. I haven't, he records it on his own, and I just edit and put it up. So we'll have to see exactly what he covered in it. But that's up, tonight as well. And a scheduling change. A scheduling change for Psychic Medium Sherry's Portals to Enlightenment. She is now going to be broadcasting on Wednesdays. That's when the podcast is available for either stream on Spreaker.com or for download on iTunes, Podcast Addict, Stitcher Podcast, or anywhere else you happen to find podcasts at. But this week she's going to be doing a Welcoming Fitness into Your New Year, where she brings on NASM certified personal trainer and ISSA certified nutritionalist Janelle Gallows Riger. This is just a quick chat. Actually, I think it's about 34 minutes of just them talking about overall health, fitness, well-being, diet, nutrition, that kind of thing. That's going to be available Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. So get off work, download this, put it on your iPod, your iPhone, or your mobile device, and you can listen to it on your way to work. Of course, using hands-free or Bluetooth, whatever happens to come in your vehicle, or if you have one of those auxiliary things like we got in our van, which is what everybody uses because the Bluetooth's iffy in the Dodge Ram vans apparently. But that's going to be there, and that all of those are of course available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Podcast, Podcast Addict, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, on and on and on and on and on. I can't even remember everywhere they go because it's on places I've never even heard of. I think one of them's called Castbox, another one's called Podbean, and I'm just like, okay, I've never even heard of these things, but apparently they're out there and we're on them. So just about anywhere you want to hear. Of course, the Night Stalker, which we have big news coming up for the end of the month. And this is, of course, going to be on iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, and all of the places you can find it. We have got, and it's actually funny, because when I started this show with Star, I'd always talk to her, and I was like, I'm only going to do this until I get a certain guest on. Once I get that guest, I'm done. Because to me, then I will have done everything I wanted to do. And that's because I'm a huge fan of a group of documentary filmmakers called the Booth Brothers. It's twin brothers, Philip, I believe they're twins actually, Philip and Christopher Booth. And they have been like I said, I've been a huge fan of theirs. I've idolized them with the way that they show what they collect, and well, actually they show what the investigators who work with them collect. They do the history of the buildings. They go in, and the way they film it. They can do an hour-long documentary that just really fascinates and draws you in, and it's incredible. I collect their DVDs. I mean, like I said, I followed them since Children of the Grave actually is one of theirs, and that was one of the first ones that I saw. And it really kind of hit home with me because of the fact that my grandfather was an orphan around that time, and very closely could have been one of those children that they were talking about. When he was a child, and he used to tell us stories about this when he was a kid, that they used to take him, and this, when I say a child, I'm talking like 4 and 5 years old. They would take him and put him on a train with his name and a return ticket pinned to his jacket, and send him off to people that were interested in adopting a child. If they decided they wanted him, they could keep him. If they didn't, they pinned his name to his jacket, gave the conductor the return ticket, and put him back on the train. We look at it now and it's like, oh my God, that's barbaric. How can they do that? But that was normal practice then. And when they started going into the orphans and the stuff like that really hit home to me, it drew my attention, and I was hooked since then. Well, it will be airing, if I'm not mistaken, it will be airing the 25th. But we are going to be actually interviewing them on the 21st of January. We're going to have Christopher Booth and his wife, Rachel Marie Booth. And I actually had to like take a breath and stop fanboying out when I was talking to him yesterday. It was really, and I mean, I've talked to all the people from Ghost Hunters. I've talked to, John Zaffis and all of these people, these huge names, these people that, actually I just did an interview yesterday with psychic medium Sherry where, she interviewed David Weatherly. We've got an interview with her coming up with Clyde Lewis. Still it was just like, oh, that's cool. Nice to meet you. Hi. How's it going? With him, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you were about as giddy as a 16-year-old girl at a Justin Bieber concert.
Yeah, I will not even, I won't even deny that. Because like I said, this was, they were, when I got into this, I said from the beginning that they were it. That I would take the Booth brothers as the pinnacle of success. Star's sitting there going, oh, we got Barry Fitzgerald, and next week we're going to talk to this person, and next week I've got Chip Coffey, and then I've got this person, and I've got that person. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Aaron, Zach, and Nick are going to be on, oh, cool, the Ghost Adventures guys. All right, yay. That's it. And she even used to say it, she's like, you really don't get, like, excited for anyone. Like, I thought I was going to have to tie her to the chair when she was getting to interview Barry Fitzgerald because Star, I know of two men in the world that Star would have gone to any lengths to do any. There were times that I wanted to send them a picture of Star and say, basically, if you see this woman, run for your life because she's probably there to kidnap you and hold you in her basement forever because she was completely and utterly in love with them. And that's Barry Fitzgerald and Gary Oldman. Those two men were like her dream guys.
If I'd have found rolling duct tape and some zip ties in her trunk, I wouldn't have been surprised. Yeah,
no, exactly. But she always said that she's like, you don't really get up. And that's when I sat on and told her, I was like, well, me and the Ghost Adventures guys, we started out about the same time, actually, doing this, and the rest of them were just like, okay, TV doesn't impress me. I'm sorry. It's just, it doesn't do it for me. There's no, it's like, well, I grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina, or grew up mostly in Wilmington, North Carolina. I would walk down the street seeing movies being filmed. I was standing in line at a bank talking to two of the Baldwin brothers about football. Me and Kim Basinger used to talk about movies in a movie store. This kind of stuff. I grew up around those kind of people, seeing them all the time. It got to and then in my adult life, the movie thing and the TV show, One Tree Hill was filmed there. It was more of an annoyance than anything to me. Because you would have to, change your route and your routine just because they were filming a movie or a TV show there. And it's like, what the hell? I don't care what they're doing. I remember actually one time, and I was telling a friend of mine this. I was like, you might actually, you won't see me, but there's a good chance you can hear me on one of the episodes of One Tree Hill. There's an episode where I think they were doing Halloween, but anyway, the people were in costume. And I'm trying to get to a bus stop. And one of the set people, and I kind of feel bad about it now because, the set person, she was just doing her job. She stops me and she's like, don't look at the camera, don't do this, don't acknowledge that. And I looked at her and I was like, that is my bus. I'm trying to go home. I don't give a fuck what you're doing. Just get the fuck out of my way so I can catch my bus. And you can actually hear me yelling at the woman. And I was just thinking, I'm like, so I told him, I was like, you might actually hear me cursing someone out on the recording because I'm pretty sure it picked me up. But, like I said, so, when she would get like, she was another, not like had a crush on, but someone else she was a big fan of was Chip Coffey. She was, oh my God, I'm getting Chip Coffey on. I'm like, oh, cool, Well, the Booth brothers were my my fanboying. Because like I said, they were the one group that I was actually a fan of. They did something that I didn't look at as me being equal to. You know, I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own ass or feed into any kind of ego or anything, but I'm a better investigator than the guys on Ghost Adventures. Except for designing some of the equipment, I probably know about as much about the paranormal as Barry Fitzgerald does. The man's a genius when it comes to designing equipment. The way he understands stuff and the way his mind works, that's incredible. And that he has better than me. You know, I'm not a psychic or a medium or any of that, so, you know, I'd have nothing to compare it with Chip Coffey or any of that. And as far as John Zaffis goes, would he be as big as he was if it wasn't for genetics? His family line is what made his name. You know, so they just weren't that much to me. I'm sorry. That's just it. I'm a better investigator than the Ghost Adventures guys. I'm equal to the rest of them, you know. Now, like I said, would John Zaffis be John Zaffis if it wasn't for the fact that he's related to the Warrens?
Well, you know, I mean, if you get right down to it, most investigators that have been doing this for long enough and are still doing it, if you put all of them in a room or in a place that was supposed to be active, and gave them all the same equipment, we'd all do the same thing.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Well,
except using a Kinect camera to...
that's what I was about to say. Except for find the devil and use a Kinect camera to map out a doorknob.
Yeah, but, you know, if you give everybody a digital recorder and a full-spec camera, or maybe night vision or whatever, and even then, and you're going to hear something about that on our interview.
Yes, actually you will.
You're going to hear about that. And we've been saying it for years. And I'll say it again. You can investigate a place just as easy in the daytime and safer in the daytime as you can at night in pitch black. Only thing that's good for is TV.
Yeah. And it's something I get asked almost every investigation when because I'll do times that aren't in the middle of the night. And they're all like, oh, doesn't it have to be dark?
Oh,
no.
And you will get the excuse of thermal radiation.
That's horseshit.
The thermal radiation in the daytime is too high. It overpowers the spirits, and they can't come through because of thermal radiation from the sun during the daytime. That's horse crap. Now, I mean, you know, if you show me a study where you can prove to me that thermal radiation affects something we can't prove exists, I'll be glad to read it. You know, so.
You know, it's like, yeah, it's all done for theatrics and, you know, and television. That's it. I mean, and I've personally, I've never done the thermal radiation one, but like a lot of the time, if we're going to a open space or if you're in a business or something like that, you need to do it overnight because you need to do it when it's closed. There is less chance of outside contamination and noise pollution, but that's the only reason to do it at night versus any time of the day. You know, like when we were investigating the terrace.
I've investigated Atalaya down here at the state park in the middle of the day and got photos and got probably 20 EVPs in one room.
Yeah.
In the middle of the afternoon.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You know, when we did the Terrace Heritage Park here earlier this year, we were doing it started at 4, 5 in the afternoon.
It doesn't get dark till what, 10 or 11?
Yeah, it didn't. So we'd be done by 9, 10 o'clock. So it'd be like dusk when we're leaving. And as personal stories that I told in the interview, you know, I've seen 2 apparitions in my entire life. And one of those was in the middle of the afternoon. So night doesn't, this radiation stuff, it's like I said, it's bullshit. That's all there is to it. It's their way of trying to make more dramatic and more, TV. But that's just it. So that's why I just never got like I said, I never got like all bent out of shape or all excited or, now when we did get some of the bigger names on, I did get like, oh, this is going to be great for ratings or this is going to bring in a lot of attention, that kind of stuff. But that's just it. And like I said, I don't want to downplay anybody. And like I said, with like David Weatherly, with Sherry yesterday, really great guy, an interesting interview with a good book that I would love to have heard more about. And, it's definitely, made me want to go out and find his book. I can't remember the name of it, but, you go to Amazon.com and look up David Weatherly's page. His new book, I believe it's about cryptozoology, but based in Nevada. And it came out on the 1st of this month, actually. So you can go to Amazon and find it. It's really, like I said, what he found out when he started looking about it, because he lives in the Southwest, what he found out when he started like researching it absolutely fascinated me. The fact that Nevada is the driest state in the United States. There's less water in Nevada than any other state in the United States, yet it has the most sightings of water cryptos. That's amazing to me. The stuff that's reported there is water-based cryptos. And he goes into a great story about the, what they call water babies in Pyramid Lake. He tells another story of a serpent in another lake. And it's like I said, it's just amazing stuff. So, and definitely, he knows his stuff. He's a good researcher. He does good books. He does his diligence. He does his work. So, but still, like I said, he's a cool guy, laid back. They had a great interview. Absolutely great. It's a quick one. It's only about 26 minutes, but it's incredible. But like I said, it's just that I never got excited for anyone until now. So I absolutely can't wait until the 21st. I'm absolutely just counting down the days. Can't wait for that.
Kid at Christmas.
So, should we go into what you've been working on?
Oh, God. Well, that's a deep and very pool of insanity of its own, but we can.
All right, hold on. All right, the floor is yours.
Well, I got to thinking, which in its own self is a danger. But every piece of equipment that we use was designed for something else. Now, people will there's EMF detectors of all shapes and sizes with all kind of lights, and there's vibration detectors, and there's pods that put out electromagnetic field, and there's all kinds of stuff. When you look up ghost hunting equipment, and you will find equipment that costs you fortunes, and people buy it. And there is no piece of equipment ever made that will detect spirit. First off, we don't know what it is. We don't know how any of it works. We've been doing this for 15 years. We still don't know what causes an EVP, or how it's transmitted, or how it's recorded. The only thing we know for sure about a haunting, and the one thing I can tell you for sure, is it requires a human antenna. Because that's what a human is an antenna. When you encounter something, a personal experience, you see something, you hear something, you feel something. Something scratches you, something touches you, something hits you in the back of the head. You're the receiver for whatever that impulse, where that signal was. That I know for sure. I also know that your body, our bodies, everyone, is electromagnetic in origin. It's cellular. Your heart, your brain, your whole body works on electromagnetism. So when cells cross the walls of each other, they cause charge. Magnetic field. Your brain has a magnetic field. It's a near field, which means it has to have sensors put on it to detect the brainwave pattern. When you get an EEG, an electroencephalogram of your brain, it's near field, which means they have to put the sensors actually on your skin to detect it. They can't put the sensor 5 feet away from you and pick up your brainwave. At least not unless they've changed the way they're doing it. Which brings me to this point. If none of the equipment that we have is designed to detect what we're looking for, then maybe we should take the initiative and think different. Get laughed at. It doesn't matter. Try stuff. There are so many books on how to build circuits and parts of circuits that you can use. Basic stuff. I'm not talking about you have to be an electrical engineer to build this stuff. I sit here right now and just built a simple circuit to make an LED light up using an LED, a resistor, a jumper wire, and a breadboard, which is a board that you hook circuits into. And I'll be putting videos on the website to show how it works. It's simple, and a battery. Simple. It's the simplest circuit in the world. Everything starts with something simple. Perhaps the most complicated questions that we ask have the simplest answers. It's possible that all these things that we investigate are normal, are supposed to be, something that we just don't understand yet. So, get some books. I can name one right now. There's Practical Electronics for Inventors. And it's written by Simon Monk and Paul Scherz. And his last name is spelled Scherz. And assumes that you know nothing about electronics. It explains pretty much everything, and it weighs a ton. And you can find it on Amazon. Do it safely. Read the precautions in the book. Build some of your own stuff. Try some of your own stuff. If it works, if you get something, great. If you don't, you ain't hurt nothing. Doesn't cost a lot to get started. Don't put in a self-destruct button. Always wear safety goggles, and you'll be fine. Because so far, everything we've done hasn't gotten us very far. So, instead of saying, think outside the box, pretend there is no box. Let your brain be free to flow to whatever you think might sound crazy, but try it. Call somebody. Call an engineer if you need to, if you can find one that'll talk to you. I mean, I have. You're making a phone call, someone's bound to talk to you. This is a stupid question, but can I ask you a question? And they'll say, sure. I've talked to nuclear physicists at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. I had a question about radiation involving the paranormal. I picked the phone up and made a phone call. I was surprised as hell. But I got a nuclear physicist and we talked for an hour. And he explained it in a way that I would understand it. I'm not an electrical engineer. I'm not a physicist. I'm just like everybody else that does this. I know what I know. There are parts that I know pretty good, and some parts I'm still learning. I've been doing it for 20 years. But get into it. If you're going to try it, try it. Don't sit on the sideline and say, well, nothing ever changes. Well, it's never going to change unless we get off our asses and try something new. So try something new. And every week I'm going to have a video up, or try to have a video up of something simple that you can try that you might be able to use. It might not all of it be something that will work for the paranormal, but it will give you some place to start. And that's that part.
All right. So now that that's done, I guess we will get into the little bit of a list of the plugging, where if you would like to talk to us, find us. Oh, actually, I do want to welcome one other part. I do have a couple of other announcements. I forgot all about them. We do want to welcome Paul and the South Carolina Paranormal Research and Investigation Team. They have now started a podcast on the network. They have the first episode up. If you want to listen to them, of course, they are on everywhere that you can find all the other ones on. And we are going to be doing the interview. We're actually going to be having next week on the show. We're going to be having an author who's going to be starting her own podcast with us, dealing with folklore and ghost stories from Winnipeg and Manitoba and the area up here in Canada. It's going to be the concept behind it, what she was telling me, is going to be really neat, and I'm going to have more details with that coming up. Of course, the first episode of that's going to come out on the 21st, and we're going to be having, like I said, we're going to have her on the show next Friday. Coming up next Wednesday, of course. No, I've already covered Sherry's and everything, so I think we're all done with that. But if you have any questions, comments, want to be a guest, want to maybe start your own podcast, who knows, you can always find us on Facebook at Night Stalker Pod. That is the NPN Night Stalker Paranormal or Night Stalker Podcast Network, not Night Stalker Paranormal Network, because we do actually have multiple shows. It doesn't have to deal with paranormal and ghosts. It's just that's mainly the people we know. Another thing is that we can find us on Twitter, which our Twitter is at Night Stalker Pod. Of course, if you want to hear any of these, they are streaming all day and every day on the Paranormal North Coast British Columbia website at www.paranormalbc.com. It's actually got a network page, and of course that's where you can go to find out what in the hell we're doing with Paranormal North Coast British Columbia, which God only knows what we're ever doing with that. And if you want to hear more about that or more of what we're doing with them, of course you can always go to Facebook at Paranormal North. I is good talk person tonight. At Paranormal BC. Just search us up on there, or you don't even have to put the at thing if you put in www.facebook.com/paranormalbc. So, without further ado, I'd say, so I can quit slaughtering the English language, let's go on, cue up Mellanie, and get that on there. Of course, we will be back again next week with our normal level of incoherent insanity, and we hope you all enjoy the interview. I hope you all, since this is our first episode of the new year, isn't it? I mean, we did the Night Stalker Goes to the Movie, but we actually, just to let everybody know, we actually recorded that one a while back. I don't know why we didn't record anything. Oh yeah, we did record something, but I got a little harsh on somebody, and that's even for me, I was like, damn, that's a little raw. So, we decided to not go with the one where I broke out a level of profanity vocabulary that has not quite been met by any living creature. And we put out the one where we talked about stuff on Netflix. So, Happy New Year. Hope everything is going great for you guys this year. Of course, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the interview that's coming up. And we will be here again next week for your next dose of paranormal insanity. We'll talk to you then. Enjoy the interview. All right. We are now joined by Mellanie of MVP, Military Veterans Paranormal. Want to thank you for coming on tonight with us, Mellanie, and welcome to the Night Stalker. So, can we start off by just getting a little bit of a history of your group?
Oh, wow. MVP, we've been around for a long time. We just like to fly under the radar for the most part. We're based out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, home of Screaming Eagles. We are an all-military team. So in order to be a member of our team, you had to have served or be actively serving in the military. But we started out here, we were Screaming Eagle Paranormal for a while. But then when we decided to stick to being strictly all military, we switched over to MVP. And we did that around 2013.
All right. So
I think that is so cool. I really do.
Well, thank you. There's a reason for it, though. You see, being in the military, it's not a job. It's a lifestyle. It really is. And it trickles down into everything, and it changes the way you think. Our lives in the military are geared for a mission. That's the whole point of us. We become property of the U.S. military. And it becomes ingrained in everything that you do. Our vernacular changes, our jokes, and our mannerisms. But we get each other. So you don't have to have served with someone to get them. And when it comes to the paranormal, when we approach it like we do a mission, it runs much smoother. We know how to train up. We know what's expected. We know how to do packing lists and gear prep. And so we don't have to explain things over and over. And at the same time, for lack of a better term, we don't get butt hurt if somebody's all up your tail because you mess up. You know, it is what it is. You suck it up, drink water, and drive on. And so we work a lot more fluidly and we have fun with it. But it gives us the feeling that we still have a purpose, because when you leave the military, at first you're all excited, like, haha, I'm a civilian now. I don't have to shave, or I don't have to have my hair up in a sock bun for me. But then it sets in. What now?
Yeah.
Yeah. What now? So this gives us a chance to still utilize our skills that we gained in the military, maintain that camaraderie, and it also helps us deal with issues like PTSD. We've got a lot of members that are combat veterans, and they struggle with it. And it's the only time that we can sit still or handle silence, and we feel comfortable because we know this guy on my right, I know he's got my six. I mean, people have tried to kill us. Really, there's not much more that can really scare you by sitting in a room. So we're good.
Yeah, after active duty combat, I'd say sitting in a dark room in a haunted house, that's pretty much a cakewalk for you guys.
Got nothing. Yeah.
You know the old saying, there are no atheists in haunted houses and foxholes. That's what my old man used to say. Daddy was in the military, and that was one of his favorite sayings. No atheists in haunted houses or foxholes. Yeah,
it's funny because we joke around. We say, is this going to be the come to Jesus moment? And then we'll look at each other. We're like, man, we've had a lot of them. And you think about it. It's like, you may not know what you're praying to or whatever, but there, you know, when you got that butthole pucker moment, when you're downrange and you're just like, I'm going to pray to somebody up there.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Been there, done that.
So how many members right now are in your team?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 active members. We have 2 that they're still members, but one is still active duty and he's stationed somewhere else. He's getting ready to come back. And he's one of the original founding members as well. So, but we never turn a veteran or an active duty soldier or Marine. We've even had an airman once. We never turn them away. If they want to go on an investigation or sit in on a meeting or a train up, because sometimes training is a lot more fun than anything else, we definitely bring them along.
Is this like one of the kind, or is your group one of a kind, or are there more on other bases?
As far as we know, we're the only strictly all military team. I know that there's one other, but we call them dependents, where they're civilians that might be a spouse or someone else. They've got 1 or 2 on there. So as far as having the strict rule of I have to see a DD-214 or an active DOD ID card, I think it's just us. I mean, we're hoping that there will be more, and we're trying to get more groups like ours to kick up, because it really is beneficial to service members and veterans. It really does help.
Yeah, it kind of brings that camaraderie and the feeling of being back, especially like you were saying with the people who are no longer in the military. It kind of brings that feeling back again, because I know I'm from North Carolina. I'm from Wilmington. We're not too far from Fort Bragg. I mean, I know a lot of Marines.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of them talk about. It's like, you know, and I hate to say it, it's like life's boring and lonely after the military.
Especially if you've ever deployed and, you have like either a combat arms or a combat support, MOS, your military occupation specialty. You think about it, you spend that entire deployment. For me, it was 1 year on an adrenaline rush. And then you come back and everything slows down. But at least in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, I'm getting mission ready. I was a combat medic. So it's like, I'm getting mission ready. I'm getting mission ready. We've got members that are, we call them fisters. They're fire support. We have some that they're known as 11 Bang Bangs or 11 Bravos. They're infantry. And so you spend that entire time on a rush. And then when you get out, it's like, there's what is left. But then it's the bigger sinking feeling comes in that, what am I supposed to do with my life now? It's a very, for some people, it really hits home. And that's why we're using this as a way to combat veteran suicide as well. Cause, you know, we're really struggling right now. And so we've noticed that it's been able to really turn lives around. So we'll always keep going.
Well, you know, that's actually, like I said, it does have a lot of benefits and have you thought about maybe taking this to some of the higher ups and seeing about getting some type of group like that, if there's an interest in it, started on other military bases? Or I know you, were talking about other divisions of the military coming in, like Marines or Air Force or something like that. Has there been any talk about maybe trying to branch out? Yes,
there actually has. And we have one that he's up in Fort Drum area. So he's looking there. And, I'm originally from California. So going back to SoCal every once in a while, I have friends out there that are Marines down at Camp Pendleton, and they're interested in doing this as well. So I look at the paranormal itself as a hobby, you know, but it's one in which it can be really intellectually stimulating. It's more than just, you know, like what you see on TV. I tell people all the time, what you see on TV is television. It says it's reality, but it's really not. The real stuff, it's boring sometimes when you're sitting in a room, but then when you think about what you're doing and then you're coming up with a plan on how to accomplish this, the wheels will start ticking, and that's when it starts getting fun. So we've got some interest in different bases and even from veteran communities. So we are exploring it.
That would be an amazing thing to get started, like countrywide or service-wide, honestly. Because you're right, I had to do the same thing. The two guys that I'm teamed with here in Canada, I started this back when I lived in North Carolina, and I've been doing this for over 10 years. Excuse me, sorry. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. And when I got up here, the two guys that I started the team with, their experience was ghost adventures.
And well, that's just that.
Yeah. We actually have the term "don't bangins it up."
Holy shnikes, we have a similar saying.
I use "don't zack it up" too.
Yeah, that's what we say. We don't zack it up.
Don't zack it up. Yeah, we've used both.
And the guys know, and it's actually happened once before. I tell them, if I hear any of you say, "Will you give me a sign of your presence?" my boot will be in the center of your chest. And it's happened. I've gotten up, I've walked across the room, and I just stuck my boot, and I just like field punted him right in the chest. Like, seriously, bro. And it just kills me.
You know, yeah. Joe, we need her on our team.
I was about to say we should just.
You can just put your boot right in Dan's butt.
We could maybe even work out a GoFundMe and send Dan down for training.
He wouldn't last 15 minutes.
I think he'd come back scarred. Sometimes I wonder that about ourselves. Like, we sit and, you know, we joke around and we laugh, and we've had production teams follow us around sometimes because they're interested, you know. But and they're kind of amazed that the way that we play around with each other and the way how sometimes we're savage, but we can just laugh about it, it's just our humor.
Well, yeah.
And it works.
It's funny, you said you were a combat medic?
Yes, a 68 Whiskey combat medic.
I was a paramedic. I didn't do the combat thing. I got shot at a couple times, but still.
Okay, I was just going to say, depending on where you go, I don't know.
I didn't get shot at. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stress in that job anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only are you getting shot at, but then again, there's the fact that people get shot and people die, and you watch. And sometimes you can't help, and sometimes you can.
Right.
And after I quit doing that, I did something else in the hospital. But there's a lot of stress that goes with that, and I actually had some PTSD myself after all that stuff. When I had a lot of stuff go on.
Well, there's a saying that we use, and that's and it kind of goes along with what you're saying with the stress and the pressure. You have to understand that with combat medics, and even to an extent, paramedics as well, we bury our mistakes. So there is no room for error.
No, you don't get to screw up. But, so I understand where you come from on that. And I think it's great that you guys are using veterans, especially the ones that need help. Because I see so many of them, even here where I live. I live in South Carolina, but so many of them don't get the help that they need, and it's sad.
Yeah, and sometimes one of the things that we notice with us, especially when we do public events and we invite other veterans or service members, is that it's what's missing is that camaraderie, that member of a team. The Army, it's not in the military, no matter which branch you're in, you're not doing it by yourself. You're part of a squad. You're part of a platoon. You're part of a team. And that goes so far. You'd be surprised at the type of impact it has on your life later on.
Yeah, it really, like I know when I get together with some of my old paramedic friends, it's different. There's a different feel to it. Much like I would be, I know, because I know back years ago when I was a medic, we had an Air Force base here in Myrtle Beach. So a lot of our squad members were military that we worked with, and that had a whole different feel to it for a lot of us because they had like their own lingo that we didn't get.
Yeah, that's something I tell you. We have our own language. We really do. We love our acronyms. We love our made up words. We love, and this is horrid, but we're pretty vulgar too.
I mean, and we don't mind vulgarity on this show, by the way. We've been known to say all kind of words.
Okay, because it's really hard,
Yeah, I know it's hard to, but it's bad because, like, when you're out doing work or whatever, when you go home, it's like, pass the fucking salt.
I know.
You don't think about what you just said. It's there,
I have a shirt that says I'm an F-bomb. I'm a drop the F-bomb kind of mom.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been known to we've been known to let it fly, and even in the hospital when I worked in the hospital, it was the same kind of thing. Because I worked in the intensive care unit, and the language was a little blue to say the least. But that doesn't bother us on this show.
Oh God, no. You're talking to a guy that every year swears, I'm going to cut down the cursing. I'm not going to I swear I'm not going to be as bad. And then it never fails. I break it in maybe 15 minutes. Like last year, it was we do videos for Facebook, and I was like, all right, guys, we really got to cut the swearing down. I don't want to keep editing it. I step out of the car and go, Jesus, it's slick as come on a gold tooth out here. It's like, well, there that goes.
There it goes. Yeah, that's why we don't even try.
Yeah,
we don't even try. We think about it and then we say, nah, not for us. I mean, we're trying to No, we're not. I was going to say we're trying to like limit it, but let's be real. We're really not.
Well, it never fails. There's always some idiot that...
We'll bullshit ours. You know, you can bullshit your friends, we'll bullshit ours. Well, let's not bullshit each other, because we both know that's not good.
Yeah, that's not happening. That's just not happening. So now I can say, yeah, we tell this particular team member, shut the fuck up all the time. You know, we do it with the knife hand too.
And don't you feel so much better?
I do, because I felt like something was left out. You know, it just didn't.
See?
Well, shoot, darn it, just don't fit all the time.
I mean, we had one show last week that we done, and we actually had to think about it after we did it. Because we called this bastard every name in the book. We're going to get sued for libel. You know,
that's my thing. I've got to watch what kind of shows I do, because we were talking about, and this is a pet peeve of mine, and there is going to be a show out about this at some point. But investigators that charge for investigations.
Oh, see, now that just pisses me the fuck off. How are you going to charge somebody to do something that that you're doing for a hobby, that you can't prove you can fix, that there is no skilled training technically for it, you didn't get an education, you're going into this house to have fun, but you're going to charge somebody? Really?
You can't even prove it freaking exists, much less what it is.
Thank you. That's the most unethical thing. So we've never charged. We never charge. And in fact, we tell people we don't cleanse homes. You realize this. If that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for some sort of, shaman ritual, bro, that's not us. We're not going to do that. We can find logical, plausible explanations, or we can rule those out. That, we got to whittle it down. But if you think you got a demon in your home and you expect me to walk in and catch it in a box made of mirrors and then go outside and blow it up and bam, you're good. Yeah, you might want to exhale. That shit's not going to happen. Not in this lifetime.
I saw those guys do that. I thought they were dumbasses.
They are.
Well, it goes back to that TV thing.
Yes.
These people put this stuff on TV and basically it's the Bagans effect, because I mean, how many times, and I've said this before in episodes, it's like, damn, the devil's got to be a busy mother, because he is everywhere Zach is. You notice it's never a demon, no, it's always the devil.
Well,
and every creaking floor is the devil.
Well, does the Catholic Church know that you can be possessed and then exorcised within the same 1 hour span? Because if so, why haven't they set up like drive-throughs? Like McDonald's, you just say like 4 Hail Marys, bled out, I'm good. I mean, what the fuck? But people are honestly believing this, and then the littlest creak in their house, or, it's winter and we're in the South, so you got old homes, they're going to creak, they're going to pop because wood, call me crazy, but it's this thing called science. But don't let me go down that road. Anyway, so then they're freaking out, and then they're calling us, and they swear it's a demon, and they ask us, well, what about that little box? Can't you catch it in there? Well, let me ask you this.
Get her right.
You can't see it. You can't touch it. It can somehow go in and out through things, doesn't have to use a door handle, but I'm supposed to catch it and contain it in a box because it's got mirrors. That's the dumbest bullshit I've ever heard. I'm pretty fucking smart. I'm going to tell you guys this, but that annoys me because then I get dumb because my IQ points go down just a little bit more and a little bit more because I had to hear that. I'm offended.
God, I love you. I want to hear stuff like that.
It just pisses me off.
I've actually said that almost that exact thing. It's like, just by watching this, I have gotten dumber. I have like now forgotten stuff that I used to know. It's just gone. It's one thing, like I will tell you, I'm good friends with, I'm not sure if you guys know him. His name is Kenny Biddle. And, he's a pretty harsh skeptic. I like to call him a cynic, but he says he's skeptic. We'll go there. He's a good friend of mine. He came out here and we watched this show called Ghost Brothers. Now, if you take it seriously,
you need Jesus. That's all I can tell you. But otherwise, if you watch it, you can see this is purely for entertainment purposes, and it is funny, and we enjoyed it. But then when you turn on some of these other shows and they're trying to be so serious, cue ominous music in the background, which is the same loop from every show, get original, please. And then everybody's all scared. Whoa, did you hear that? I heard footsteps. Well, now I don't know what I heard because you just contaminated it and you just introduced confirmation bias. Thanks, you dumb fuck. But people are still going to believe in it. And that's the one that bothers me because they're taking it, they're trying to project that as truth. And it's not.
No, unless you sit through like 40 hours of video review to watch nothing, on a monitor.
I know.
This cameras that you ran and there was nothing on, but you sat there for a week. You haven't been on an investigation.
Thank you. I thought I was the only one that thought, okay, you just spent 24 hours in this place. You have 7 cameras set up, and somehow you just 2 people watched all that video. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Exactly. Well, that's one of our favorite things. Because I heard a while back we had an investigation, and I watched video for 6 hours a day. No shit. 2 weeks straight. I got a lot of stuff off of it. There was a lot of stuff on the video. A lot of stuff happening because it was video and audio, but still, it wasn't a one-night deal.
Right. Well, with the way that our team works is that we conduct the investigation. Afterwards, we upload all the audio and all the visual data. No member can talk to each other during the review, meaning you have to get completely through your audio and your visual. Once everybody is done, then we have the after action report. We all get together, and then you have to write down what you think you saw or you heard or any findings. You all bring that to the table. That way I can ensure that, Joe wasn't influenced because did you hear these footsteps at, 11 minutes, 56 seconds on, Bravo C? No, he's going to come up with his stuff. I'm going to listen to the same thing. And then that way you got some sort of checks and balance there. That's how it should be done. But that's not what you see on there.
No. Even back with Ghost Adventures, it's always, here, listen to, or Ghost Adventures, rather, Ghost Hunters. Back at the beginning when it first started, they were having those people sitting around doing that, and they're like, oh, here, listen to this. Do you hear this voice?
Right.
Actually, I was just doing evidence with, showing evidence to a client, and I was like, I'm sorry, I need to go through these because it's like I blind tag everything. Everything is only set up with the recorder it's from, the time it was heard, and I will differentiate if it's a voice or a sound, and that's it. Voice, sound. That's all I put in it.
That's what we put. We use the term anomaly. Anomaly 1. Yeah. Anomaly 2. Audio, and so we have the separate tracks. When it comes to visual, we just have the timestamp. Can you watch this at this timestamp? We don't even circle where we want them to look. No. We'll just let them watch.
Yeah, that's exactly with us too. It's just mark whatever 11 minutes 25 seconds and the camera it's from. Now, actually, and where it's at. Like if like we were just doing a place. The place Michael was talking about is the Terrace Heritage Park, and there's like 7 buildings in it. So we would mark which cabin it was in.
Oh wow. Yeah, one of the things that we've encountered is that there are a lot of people that are interested in truth. There's a lot more people that are interested in debunking methods, or at least whittle this shit down so we can say, well, damn, we don't know what that was. There's far more people that are actually interested in that than the garbage that's on TV. But what it's turned out to be is it's the television and the media executives that are coming up with this decision that, oh no, this is what is selling. Well, that's because that's all you're putting out there. If people who've been in this for a long time, I've been doing this since 2000, But if people have been in this a while, remember, it really took off with taps. And the way taps originally started was they debunked. That's how people were like, oh shit. And then the more and more they debunked, then the one time they did catch something, that's when you're blown away like, well, okay, this might be something legitimate. That's how this all took off. It was a lot more before. And then you had, Zach Fakins come on and with the spiky hair and everything. And back when you had like the three guys who were screaming and yelling 3/4 of the time. Yeah. It's just sad to the how it's morphed. We're supposed to get better with time. We didn't get better. It got worse.
Yeah, we're back to painting on caves and dragging knuckles when you compare Zach to where most of the other researchers in this field are, honestly.
Right.
I mean, like, that's been our thing. And I've actually answered this question multiple times. Well, do you always find a ghost? It's like, absolutely, I always find a ghost whenever I'm investigating. Sometimes the ghost is a floorboard that you step on wrong. Or exactly. A mismounted water pipe, or, I can go on and on with all the things that these ghosts are. But if you're asking me if I actually find something paranormal and unexplained in each one, then no. Right. But I do find the ghost.
What we tell people, when we go out and we talk to people sometimes, because people have been, they're intrigued by what it is that we do. The way we explain it is, you go on 10 investigations, 9.5 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be like, yeah, there is nothing. And then there's going to be one time when you're going to be, it's a possible. I don't know, but it's a possible. It is extremely rare that you'll walk away from somewhere saying, without a shadow of a doubt, this place is haunted. Not there's paranormal activity, but this place is haunted. That's very, very rare. But that doesn't mean it's not fun.
Oh, no.
Yeah. There was one time we were at a location in Central City, and a psychic had previously gone through and said there was a portal in this one particular room, and they went in with a compass, and the compass would freak out once it got to a spot. So what we did was we shut all the power off to that building. We let that bleed for about an hour, and it was in the middle of summer, so it was stifling hot. It was about 130 degrees in there, and I climbed through floorboards. I had a battle who was on the top. 3 hours later, we found a little small wood nail that had been magnetized. And so when we removed the wood nail, the compass was normal. When we put that nail right back in there, the compass freaked out. It's little things like that for us. It's almost like an archaeological dig when you're like, holy shit, I found something. That's our eureka moment right there. To me, that's fucking fun.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't turn the light switches off like everybody else does?
I know, right? Well, we had, and we did this during the day, keep in mind. That's another thing. Okay, riddle me this. Everybody say, well, I saw a spirit here and I saw this happen over there. Well, then why are you turning the fucking lights off? Because when it's pitch black, you can't see shit through a viewfinder, but how are you supposed to see a ghost? What? Hello? It's not rocket science. At what point are people going to stop and think, he can't see in front of him, he has to see on camera? That's not what the claim was. The claim was that they saw an apparition. Stick to the claim. And you can't see apparitions when it's pitch black. That's not rocket science. It's common sense.
I've actually seen 2 apparitions in my life. And one of them was late at night. It was late at night. I worked third shift and was having dinner. I'm sitting on my couch watching TV, eating spaghetti, and I look up and a boy walks into my living room.
Shut up.
But my lights are on, my TV's going. The second time.
Wait, pause. You can't go to a second. You can't just drop a gem like that and just move on like you're telling me the weather. let's backtrack a second. What did you do?
Actually,
with a mouthful of spaghetti.
Yeah, I froze. This was well before I actually got into doing this. But I mean, I'm sitting there, I actually watched him. He was, I can still describe him. He had sandy blonde hair. He looked to me to be maybe between 10 and 12. And he was older style, but kind of dressed up. Looked like, I said like he had on his, church clothes. Or like, but he had just like got home because everything was slightly undone, barefoot. And he was walking out of the kitchen drinking a glass of milk. The liquid in it was white. And
see, that's to me, I would lend far more credibility to that, because when you have, when you know that it's few and far between, but when it does happen, you can remember as if it happened 5 seconds ago, because those are stunner moments.
Exactly.
Those are that's the butthole pucker, just like,
yeah, I was sitting there. If I'm not mistaken, like I was not working late, but I got off at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So I just got home. I'd heat up my food. I was watching, I think, Sports Center, and I'm literally sitting there with my fork in the air, and this kid walks out of my kitchen, and I'm just like watching him, fork hovering in the air, spaghetti hanging there, and I'm just watching him walk through the living room. And then when he got about a third of the way to the door, he just disappeared.
Now, what's the second time?
The second time was a little girl in a store playing hide and seek with me. I was standing at the counter. We were checking out I was standing with my wife at the counter, and I see a little girl in a white dress, pigtail braids, and Mary Jane shoes. And she started running up beside me. So, of course, I'm going to acknowledge the little girl. I look over to say something to her. She giggles, starts to run behind one of the clothing displays, and disappears before she got behind it completely.
Now, when you initially saw her, did you know what you were looking at, or did you think it was an actual girl?
Oh, I thought it was a girl. When she was first coming up to me, I thought it was maybe one of the store. It's a status store on a native reserve here. And I smoke, so it's cheap for me to get cigarettes there. I don't pay. My wife is native; she has status and doesn't pay taxes on the cigarettes. So I was getting cigarettes there, and I thought it was maybe one of the employees that brought a kid with them, or their little kid. And she looked solid and everything, just as as solid as you or me. Until I looked over to acknowledge her, and then when I looked over to say hi to her, she like got a big smile, giggle, and darted off behind the display.
That's insane. But you know what? You just triggered of mine, because I'm also native. Why is it when all else fails and they can't come up with an explanation as to why a place may or may not be paranormally active, it's suddenly a Native American burial ground?
That is another fault of Hollywood.
Because they watch Poltergeist.
You know what really irritates me is here in Tennessee, when people say, "Oh no, this was Native American." Nah, dude, it really wasn't. You do know that Tennessee is known for, especially in this one area, it's called Indian Mound. I've heard this a lot around there. They don't realize the reason why it's called Indian Mound is because that's where they bury that's their Native American burial ground, is an Indian mound. That's hill kind of thing.
Where you at in Tennessee?
We are right at the border of Tennessee and Kentucky at Fort Campbell.
Because I'm from Tennessee. I was actually born in a town not too far from Knoxville.
We're in Clarksville. But
yeah.
You mentioned North Carolina. My father's side of the family is all from Morganton, North Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I went to basic training at Fort Jackson in South Carolina. This is a Goocher, people. Mark this day, because something's going to happen now.
Well, it's funny. Michael's in South Carolina now. I'm in Canada. I grew up in North Carolina primarily, but I was born in Kentucky.
Oh, that's another crazy thing. This is seriously a Goocher, because my second half, my significant other, my boyfriend, since high school, he's actually half Canadian.
Wow.
I know. I'm not even no, actually, so he was born in Canada. They came here. I think he was in elementary school when they came to the United States. Yeah. So how crazy is this?
That's a hell of a bunch of connections.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That really is.
Kind of freaked me out just now.
Oh, because, most people, well, of course, most people, when they hear my voice, have no clue anything about Canada. It's like, you're sure you're in Canada? Yeah, I'm in Canada. Trust me, I see all the snow. I'm in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
We got about 2.5 feet right now.
Oh, yeah, no. See, we're having some odd weather here in the South, I will tell you. It's been hot and then freezing cold and then hot. And yesterday it was 65 degrees, and by tomorrow it should be down into the 30s.
Gotta love the southern cold winters, though. That's what they do.
We had rain for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
I remember my first winter in Wilmington, we were outside in T-shirts and shorts playing. Or not maybe my second Christmas in Wilmington, on Christmas Day. And 2 days later, it snowed. It was like 70 degrees, and then 2 days later, we have snow.
Well, that happened this year here. On the Friday before Christmas, they were the largest snowflakes I have ever seen in my life, and they were slightly sticking. The very next day, it was nice and warm. We went outside for a walk with light jackets on. Now, if we were in California, I'd say that this was earthquake weather, because you go hot to cold, hot to cold. We tend to have earthquakes, but out here, I don't know what the hell it is. I'm just waiting.
It's just pretty much normal southern winters. They always have Mother Nature is bipolar during that time.
I've never gotten used to it. I've been stationed out here since I was stationed out here in 2009, and I just never got used to it. It's just crazy.
No, it's like I said, it's just every day is it's like it's keeping the guesswork going in life, because every day is different.
Well, the one good thing about being out here is that there's a lot more paranormal or places, locations that claim to be paranormally active. So it's kind of contained. It's only like a day or two drive for the longer places. We've been to Bobby Mackey's. We've been all the way to Old South Pittsburgh. We've been to Hill Farm.
Oh, God, you just mentioned something. You want to tell her or you want me to tell her, Joe?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, that's one of the one of the places, and I've never made it to it, and it's one of the places I want to go to is Bobby Mackey's, simply because I'm related to the guy that supposedly started it all.
You're related to Carl?
No, Alonzo Walling.
Oh. Well, damn.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
I wanted to go in there with Joe and see if any shit happened.
Well, damn. So, we are known mostly for, we do very, very in-depth historical research on sites. We did almost a year's worth of research on the history, even the geological makeup of the land of Bobby Mackey's, and we published our report. And there's not one well. I'll let you know that right now. There's 3. And she wasn't murdered on that site. She was murdered over a mile and a half away.
Really?
Johanna, that whole song. Yeah. Johanna, is not Mo Dallett's daughter. And, but the real truth behind Bobby Mackey's was far more interesting than what was initially put out. After our report came out, then things started to get cleaned up, and it seemed like they started to correct the history that was put out by Ghost Adventures.
That's because you call bullshit.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah. Johanna wasn't murdered there. No, she was very much real. She wasn't his daughter. I actually spoke to Mo Dallett's daughter. I tracked her down. She lives in Las Vegas. Yeah. So it was really intense. Now, when we went there, we found some issues that I'm not going to mention because I would hope that you're going to get there someday. But once you're done doing that, link up with me and then I will send you completely unredacted report to include all of our photos, our audio, everything.
Wow.
I think that it is the most haunted place in America? No, I do not. I do not. I don't think it's anything like that.
I think it's a good legend. Built up in the area.
I think it's yes, it absolutely is. Do I think that there's a possibility of something that could have occurred there? Yeah, absolutely. There could have, based on the real history. But as far as being the gateway to hell, no, I do not.
Well, yeah, that's, how many gateways is that now that they found? But, it's one of those horrible things I talk about that the truth behind it, because like I said, I had read some stuff about it, but never really looked into it. Funny enough, it didn't really take off until I moved here. That's when it really started picking up steam. I'd always heard it was like a really haunted place, but never much. And then I started hearing about, the sacrifice that was supposed to have happened on the site and thrown in the well that was buried underneath and I was like, oh wow. Then I started hearing more about it. And then I actually do genealogy, and I start looking back and I start like, hey, wait a minute. It's like a great, I think it's either a great uncle or we're divided a bit, but it's still, it's down the family tree, but it's there. And that's when I started really looking at it, and it's hilarious. Anytime anyone talks about that and I say that, it's usually like exactly that kind of oh, real, what? I was actually telling Dan, that was one thing I told Dan. I was like, if we ever make it into the States and go on some kind of paranormal investigating tour, I was like, if you absolutely are still in love with Zach, I guarantee you there's one thing I can do that will get you to be able to meet him and work with him. And that's what I told him. I was like, because I know, they're going to play that up. And of course, then the devil and everybody else is going to be coming through the spirit boxes and possessing Zach, and they're going to have a exorcism every 20 minutes or something like that.
Well, I did find a lot of historical documents from the incident from back in that time, and I will absolutely share that with you, because that won't cause any contamination or confirmation bias, but it's documented history. That's what we go off of. It can't just be, well, my, best friend's boyfriend's cousin's second mother on her left side, it doesn't work that way. It's what documentation do you have? Is there anything to substantiate this? We contacted a geologist, who was able to do a land graph on it. So we went all out. And so based off of our research and our investigation, there were some anomalies that I was just like, how the fuck did that just happen? But for the most part, no, I'm good. If you go there though, there's some things that you're just like, well, damn, that's very interesting as in terms of history. As far as being afraid that, oh my God, I'm going to take a pee. Am I going to be possessed while I'm wiping? No, that's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. You're good.
That would suck.
Yeah, it really would. It'd be really awkward. Hard to explain that one.
Yeah. Even though a lot of times everybody says, oh, spirits like bathrooms. Well, yeah, they look voyeuristic bastards. But hell, if I was down to peak too, what else you got to do?
I know, they're bored. And they're all dressed in white. There's no color, apparently, in the spiritual world.
Nope.
No.
And that's another question I have is, when people say they were in period attire, which one? Which period are you referring to? Because there's a lot. Please.
Yeah. Where they were ruffled collars from the 1500s, or or they wearing
powder wigs.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. If you're saying it was from the 50s, you do realize they had jeans Yeah. They had sneakers. So, period attire. Why is everything from the same, like, Revolutionary or Civil War period? Apparently no one died after then and did anything.
That's actually a really good question. It's something that I've actually thought about myself. It's like, why, people are using it now as a joke. It's like, well, what are the ghost hunters going to find, 50 years from now? Where's the ghost going to be running around the house screaming at 2 a.m. screaming, "It's Britney, bitch"?
I know,
this
right?
kind of stuff. But why don't we have, people from the 80s? Where's the big starch collars turned up and the visor sunglasses and stuff at?
Where's
Kurt Cobain? I'm sure he's somewhere.
What did you mention that? I spent a year of my life on the Kurt Cobain investigation.
I literally was talking to someone about that today.
I found something that nobody else found. The ballistics report is wrong.
What?
The ballistics report is fucked. They screwed it up. They put the length of the shotgun shell as 2.5 inches. It was not a 2.5-inch shell. Shotgun shells ain't measured that way. There is a 2.5-inch shell, but it's a very old shell used in very old guns. Shotgun shells are 20 gauge, 2 3/4 inch fired. When they're fired in an unfired length of a shotgun shell. But it wouldn't have been 2.5 inches either way.
I will tell you, I watched that documentary, Soaked in Bleach. What is it?
Fucking Tom Grant. That bastard.
Yeah, I will tell you, that was interesting. That really got my mind. Well, I was in high school when he died. So it was, we had a lot of good people that have died, but they're apparently never going to be part of any paranormal investigation. Oh, wait a minute. That's not true. There's that one Huff guy who every time a celebrity dies, he somehow makes contact. And the only contact I really want to make with him is my fist in his throat.
We got that covered, actually. We found a researcher in England.
Him in the throat?
No, she might if she gets a hold of him. But she actually, it's a group called DNA Paranormal. Make sure I'm getting.
Oh, okay. I thought you said T and A, and I was like,
I want to join the team.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's why I had to slow that one down. I have a tendency of getting a little fast for my own language there. But DNA Paranormal out of England, and she actually did a video on YouTube that got my attention. We're going to have them on. We're, I think, shooting for February with them, because that was their whole video, was going after Huff Paranormal.
Oh my God, yeah.
She basically showed exactly how he did it.
That's amazeballs. We will share the hell out of that.
I've put it on everything that I can put it on. It's like I said, it's DNA Paranormal is the name of their YouTube channel. They've got a Facebook page as well. She sits there and she did it with Stan Lee.
Ah.
And then she's like, now, this is how I did it. This is a spirit box. It is a radio. She went in talking about how the frequencies will stretch out, and she's like, and I'm making sure to do this when the afternoon news breaks are on, because he was a famous celebrity, and I guarantee you his name was going to be mentioned at least once out of that.
I knew it.
And that's exactly how he does it. And she hit perfectly on it. She's sitting there and she's like, is there anyone here to talk? And they're not even, just a few seconds later, it's Stan Lee. Right there.
See, we don't use spirit boxes. And the reason why is my thinking with that is, okay, you got a ghost and they're scanning through these frequencies, but it's got to be tuned in to like AM 1394, because apparently a ghost can only communicate with me through AM 1394 or AM 721. It's like, really? How'd they decide on that one? They can negotiate to speak through this radio, but they can't figure out how to tune themselves to, I don't know, anywhere else.
Yeah.
It has to be here. Has to be AM radio. I call bullshit. So no, we don't use those. Plus, you can manipulate them.
If you want to try something, if you've got a mic and you can take the diaphragm out of it and use it, you're still going to get EVP because it's not a voice. Not a voice. There's no voice box. There's no lungs. There's no brain. It's not a human conventional voice. It can't be. You know how voice works as good as I do. You got to have anatomy to make voice. They ain't got none. But electrical current moves through wire. It's still, when you move current through wire, you get a magnetic field. People discount EMF all the time, but your body is electromagnetic. Your brain's electromagnetic. You're a big freaking ass sensor. You know, you walk into something, you hit a field, you interpret a signal, your brain says, there's Uncle Fred. You know what Uncle Fred looks like. When you see Uncle Fred, oh, there's Uncle Fred. In the middle of a dark hallway, when you're walking down it and you see there's a potted plant down there, but you don't know what's down there, and you look up and you see, I don't know, Elvis eating a peanut butter sandwich.
Visual pareidolia.
Brain says, oh, there's Elvis eating a peanut butter sandwich.
Yep.
You know, you just fooled your brain.
It's the same thing with audio and sounds, and we try and educate people on the difference. You know, when your brain is playing tricks on you and you're seeing Jesus in your toast, that's called visual pareidolia. Look it up. When you know, when we're kids, we used to play this games where it's, you know, you lay on the grass and you look up in the sky and then you see what you with your little friend, you tell them, I just see a T-Rex. Yay. Oh, well, look, there's the guy from the cowboy from the Twinkie commercial. Yay. You know, we do that with the clouds. It's visual pareidolia.
Preach it, sister. We've been talking about the same stuff for so long.
I actually had a meltdown earlier on the fuzzy pictures on Facebook that everyone's sharing. I had one girl that was scared of her own feet. And I'm like, I can see your fucking socks. There is nothing standing behind you. That's your feet.
No, the best is the when they're like, you see this mist? No, but what I do see is the end of your cigarette butt from when you're taking your picture, dumbass. Like, that's not a ghostly apparition. It's called smoke.
Yeah. Or like with here, it's, you got, that was one of the first things I had to teach the guys here. It's like, watch which direction you're pointing the camera when you're breathing, because it's cold here. You can see your breath and the camera will pick it up and it will look absolutely incredible. It won't be worth a damn except for a picture of your breath, but other than that, it'll look really cool.
Now, that's where we learned a lot from Kenny Biddle. Kenny Biddle he specializes in paranormal photography, so he can explain what is really causing these anomalies. And so we learned so much about how light refraction can actually create images. Dew, a little small dewdrop, a little small piece of, or a drop of rain can make it look like something it absolutely isn't. So I encourage a lot of people, when they've got questions about photos, we outsource a lot. We're not experts because there's no such thing. But besides that, we like to utilize people who are experts in their respective fields not related to the paranormal. Well, Kenny is actually a professional photographer, so he knows the camera. He knows it a lot more than I fucking do. So why am I going to try and figure it out? You know, work smarter, not harder. So we outsource it.
Yeah, we do too. We've got a guy in California. I forget his name now. That's the audio specialist that we use.
I can't remember. Actually, we haven't sent him anything for a long time. But he taught at one of the universities in California. He did forensic audio analyzations, and we used to send clips to him because he would do forensic voice analyzations of the voices we got. And he's one of those guys that it doesn't matter if you put your voice through a voice changer or what. He can tell whose voice it is.
We do utilize an audio engineer or somebody who's been trained. I went to UCLA, so I'm very lucky in that I'm still friends with a lot of my friends who are from classmates who graduated and went on into the entertainment industry. So one of my friends is an audio engineer. And then we have a linguist out here at APSU that we send things to her, as well as University of Tennessee at Knoxville. So we use academics. We've used a professor up at Berkeley who specializes in the funhouse effect. And you'd be surprised. If your flooring is just a small percentage off, and there's a grade of a small percentage, you're going to have a funhouse effect. You're going to see Jesus in toast quite a bit. Good luck to you. Have fun with that jelly.
You know, that is something that is really unique with your team and absolutely amazing. Because so many groups now just go in there with their K2 meters and their damn Xbox cameras because they saw it on TV, and that's it. You know, they don't actually, everyone runs around, and it's something me and Michael have harped on over and over again, is everyone's running around collecting evidence, but what the hell are you getting evidence of?
That's why we don't call it evidence.
You know,
evidence proves something, so we call it data.
Exactly. You're doing studies. You're testing things. Like when you were talking about how, well, we did a geological survey. We did this. We did this. You know, no one else has thought of doing that stuff.
But I don't understand why not. To me, it's the first thing that when I hear, oh, well, it's on this or it's on limestone, or the first thing that I'm going to think of is, how do you know? Where'd you get that from? I don't get any of my information on the internet, because if you notice, there's a lot of, and I call it regurgitation, because it's nothing but word vomit that is clipped and shared on every other site. And all you have to do is look at it and you will see they're using some of the exact same phrases. I mean, it is insane. So I know, well, you took it from here or from here. You guys are all using the same source. Well, I want to go to a university research library and I want to pull the films. Or if you're saying it's on limestone, I'm going to ask a geologist, because they've got the data. They know how to analyze it. They've got the equipment for this. Why am I going to waste my time regurgitating something that may very well be false? And it turned out to be false, Bobby Mackey. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
You know, that's exactly it. It's I don't know if it's wanting to be like everybody else or afraid of being.
They want to think they're smart. You see,
that too.
We know, and we've admitted, we don't freaking know. If I knew, I'd be rich. If I knew,
right?
I mean, we've been doing this. I've been doing this stuff for 20 freaking years, and I still can't tell you what causes EP.
Me either.
And I've been and I come up with some weird ass shit. Ask him. Ask him if I don't come up with some weird shit. When I've tested every damn bit of it. I mean, I'll make damn circuits and I'll make gadgets and I'll test it.
Well, for people who didn't know, and we've reached out to them quite a few times. I'm friends with Robert Bradley, who's there as well. There is a Division of Perceptual Studies, DOPS, at the University of Virginia School of Medicine. And it's, for lack of a better term, kind of like a paranormal lab. Sometimes if you are really, really stuck, what we've done is we have a data logger that also tracks environmental data and any fluctuations in it, and then it'll convert that to a binary code to help read it out. We've got some pretty fucking smart people on our team, because the military teaches us how to do this kind of shit. And we take that data along with whatever audio clip that we may think we have found, and we will send that to DOPS and we'll ask them, well, what do you think? And then they'll also compare our environmental data to whatever they have for that date, what is logged. And then they've got a lab that they can analyze some of the stuff that, whether it's audio, visual. And if it's really intriguing, they may send a team out. People don't know because they're not looking. For some reason, they're discarding academia, or they're discarding people who are actually trained in their respective fields just because it doesn't have paranormal in front of it. Yeah. Why am I going to go to an quote unquote EVP specialist when I can go to a actual forensic audio engineer?
We use, if you're familiar with Ryan Research Institute we use Ryan a good bit. When we would do EVP stuff, we had some stuff that we wanted to ask about, and so we worked with Ryan on some stuff, and they helped us, and we helped them and sent them some data, and they analyzed some data and got back to us. And if you're going to do something, you do it that way.
Right.
I had a question about some stuff, believe it or not, that had to deal with them nuclear energy.
Mm-hmm.
So who did I call? I picked up the phone and called Oak Ridge and talked to a damn nuclear physicist.
Right.
And I'm not going to call some Joe Blow ghost guy down the street when I can call up a damn PhD at Oak Ridge and say, hey, can I ask you about this? He said, sure. We talked for a freaking hour.
And that's what we do as well. And I respect the hell out of teams and individuals that do their homework. And by doing homework, I mean more than just a Google search. And if you are using Wikipedia as your source, I'm telling you right now, you're failing at life. But I mean,
I don't get out as much as I used to because I'm unfortunately in a wheelchair and I got in a car wreck and things didn't go too well. But I do a lot of research. I'm digging into the books and I'm sitting there right now wiring some stuff. Nothing's blown up yet, so we're good. If you've ever watched Phineas and Ferb, I'm like Doofenshmirtz.
We've got one of those on our team too. The fire department was called like 4 weeks ago on him.
I haven't done that yet, but give me time. I'm working on it. But the way we work is every investigation the guys get, and right now I'm working with probably like 3 teams. They send it to me in Dropbox. Mm-hmm. I'll listen to it. I'll look at it and see what I think of it, and tell them what I think, and send it back. Or we shoot shit back and forth all the time. What do you think about trying this is different? Well, we'll try that. I got books full of shit we've tried that didn't work, but we tried it.
That's our training being different than me. I'm a computer tech.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I went to school for. I'm a computer tech. So a lot of the times when it comes in to that kind of stuff, that's where I come in with the electrical. That was what I love to do, is build computers. And I'd build them from, the ground up.
We have a member that does that is the same, and he works for Train. He's, unfortunately, he's battling cancer right now. So, it hit us pretty hard, but our thoughts are out there with him. But he builds a lot of stuff for us like that. He doesn't build ghost detectors or,
no such thing as a
devil's triangle bullshit toy boxes crap like that. No, he'll actually build us things that are actually collect legitimate data that can be quantifiable. That to me is a big difference. My background's in research. I was in journalism for a long time, and I have my degrees in history and poli-sci, so I know how to dig, and I'm really nosy. We have other people that were signals and intel, so different things. But it all comes together in our team, and where one is a little weak, another's really strong. And when none of us know anything, well, we send it out and we ask.
Yeah, you find the person who does.
Well, yeah, because you sit there, okay, what do you think about this? Well, none of us fucking know. So
right. And the important thing is to share And I don't understand why people are not sharing these. There's Cody Polston of Southwest Ghost Hunters Association. That man, he was EOD, explosive ordnance, in the military. Man,
guys.
He's freaking brilliant. His team is brilliant. They've done some really great experiments that are done the right way with control groups and with a hypothesis. That's how an experiment's actually run, people. But I mean, it's, and they write all this stuff down and they share that information. When we've had questions, we've reached out to them. We share their information that they have. That keeps us smart. That keeps us going. But I'm noticing, unfortunately, the paranormal community has become stagnant in that it's almost like they don't want to become enlightened. And I can't quite understand that. I've been doing this since April of 2000, and I still can't understand why people don't, if you claim that you want to know the truth, why are you willing to negate an entire aspect of paranormal research and investigation? Because this is a very important component of it if you want to be true.
The truth of it breaks down is they do want to further, they do want to prove the existence of all of this stuff that we do. They just don't want to be proven wrong. They don't want to have, I mean, it's, I don't know if you've done it yet, and if you haven't, just walk away. But when someone sends you a picture that they're absolutely positive has the ghost of Grandpa Fred in it, and you go, no.
Yeah, we've dealt with that. And unfortunately for us, our members, we're savage. So we did redact the name of the individual, but we'll share the shit out of that picture and we'll poke fun at it because it's funny.
I would be tempted to do the same, honestly, because I mean, like I said, I've had people that have sent me pictures. What do you think of this? I got this in my house. And I'm like, oh, it's just, dust, or it's just,
you just took a shower and you're still in your bathroom. There's steam.
Yeah.
And you took a picture in the mirror. Yeah. Think about that for a second, guy.
When you tell them that stuff and they're like, they get so defensive and mad at
you. They do. So our boilerplate response is, if you're going to believe that, you are more than entitled. This is what we have found. Good luck to you.
Well, honey, hell, we call BS on our own evidence sometimes.
Oh, we do that to each other all the time.
We'll have something we look at. No, I mean, just somebody will think it's one thing. I'll say, no, I don't see it, or I don't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how we do it.
That's how we do it as well. And then, and that's why I have everybody write things down. And when we're on investigations, if someone hears something, we use a hand and arm signal to note, I hear something. You cannot disclose at all during the investigation what you think you heard. If more than one person in that location heard it, everybody gets a slip of paper. Once that EVP session is done, they write down what they think they heard. They fold up that paper. It goes in a baggie. Nobody can touch it. Bravo team then goes into the exact same location and they do their EVP session. If they hear something, they have to do the same thing. At the end of it all, then we hold that slips of paper after the review, and then you have a comparison that is untainted. And yes, I said the word taint.
Well, we had Tits and Ass Paranormal on here, so
that was me again talking with my mouth talking faster than my brain could keep up.
I mean, who would not want to be a member of TNA Paranormal?
I know.
The name of it alone would be enough.
I think it's probably already taken.
Probably.
But that is how it should be done on an investigation. And the reason why we do that is because if you are sitting there and you're recording audio data and you think you heard something, the minute somebody says, oh my God, did you hear that? You just contaminated your data. You just stepped on your data. And if you say, I think I hear footsteps, or I just heard a voice, well, guess what? Fuck. Now it doesn't matter what I think I hear because you just contaminated that data.
Oh, God.
So that's why we don't talk. Yeah, that's why we don't talk about it while we're doing it.
You know, I've got to say, you've been the most fun interview I've had in months.
Oh, thanks. I'm not trying. Well, that came out wrong, but
you talk like we do. You don't have to worry about the filters. You know, it's just fun. It's like we're so hard sometimes to not, you know. And now we don't give a shit. Say it.
Yeah, and my whole team is like this. Keep it real or keep it moving. That's how we are. If you're not going to be real, and this is how we are. Do we know when to, you know, bite our tongues and, you know, be respectful? Abso-fucking-lutely. But when we're just with ourselves or we're with peers and they don't give a shit, then we're gonna. This is how we talk. And
That's
you have two choices. Mm-hmm. You can either like it or you don't. At the end of the day, my field of fucks layeth bare.
I might have to steal that one.
That's like Jesus in a G-string.
Well, as he was saying, this has been a great interview, and we'd love to have you back on at some point.
I do have one more question, if you have a moment.
Sure thing.
I'm in a wheelchair, like I said. Do you have any of your members that are disabled that go on your investigations?
We do.
Because the problem that I have is there's one group that would love to have me go, but most of the places they go, I really can't access because it wouldn't be safe for one thing. I mean, I could, you know, the floor's not solid or there's 9,000 stairs and I can't climb.
But that doesn't mean you can't be in the talk. What we do is we have our talk outside of the location. And we will pitch a tent and set it up, or we'll do it mobile, a talk that is off ground so that you don't contaminate it and somebody is monitoring everything. Keep in mind, we use our cameras not for trying to catch a holy grail. We use it for accountability purposes and for safety. So we always have somebody in the talk, and they may see something, they may catch something, or they may want to ask something else. And so and the people in the talk are the ones that are the most important because they designate your mission. This is who's going to go here. This is what you're going to do. Bring me something back or don't, you know? So that doesn't mean that you can't participate. You may not be able to go in every place, but if there is a location or at least one section of that location in which it's fine for you to sit there, then dude, suck it up. Have them drag you there. Like, you know, like, I don't know if you watch Vikings, but if you do, fucking knuckle drag your ass over there and just lay. Because quite honestly, that's like the best, because at least I know you're not going to be moving around everywhere, getting up, walking around. You're just going to be sitting there.
Well, that's like, I do a lot of monitor watching for the guys when they go on investigations. They'll wire me in so I can watch remotely on the cameras. Mm-hmm. And my job when I was in the ICU was telemetry. So I would sit for 12 hours watching EKGs change. So I can watch a damn camera. I did it for years, you know, so I'm right there. And if something changes, I'll note it down. So that's my thing. But it's glad that you do that, because a lot of teams, you won't, and I've noticed this too, trying to get people for the show. Once all the TV shows went off, a lot of the teams folded their tents and went home. Because they realized they weren't going to be on TV like the rest of them, so they quit. Finding good, legitimate teams that still work is harder than you think. When I found you guys, I was damn tickled.
We didn't do this with the hopes of having a TV show. In fact, the truth is, and there's several people that know this, we were given offers and we declined. As a non-commissioned officer in the United States Army, I swore an oath that I will not compromise my integrity nor my moral courage. And there is no price you can pay me in which I'm willing to compromise either. Your honor is the only thing nobody can take from you, but you can give away. And so we decided from the onset, we will never compromise our integrity nor our moral courage. So we declined because we weren't willing to be like what you see on TV. There's no honor in that. And that'd be nothing but bullshit, and that's not whom we are.
Well, that's like us too. You know, like we always talk about. The first damn time, you can be the best team in the damn world, but the first time you fake something, you're done.
Yeah. And we come on, we remember when Grant Wilson tugged on his own jacket. Done. Put a fork in him. That beanie weenie just accidentally fell into the fire.
Pretty much.
And Tap's pretty much,
that's another story for another day.
That's a story for another day. But, we were part of Taps for about 2.5 minutes. It keeps getting shorter, too. Yesterday it was 5 minutes. Today it's 2.5.
Less.
But yeah, you quickly found out this was not.
Yeah.
No.
So we're just going to stay true to whom we are. We can only, and so if we have two missions with MVP, one is to do this hobby, paranormal research and investigation, and to feed this data to groups that actually need it for their own research as well. And then the second is to help combat this veteran suicide and to give veterans and service members a safe hobby and means of dealing with PTSD or that loss that we feel when we exit the military. It's a safe environment. It's a safe hobby with friends where you can just have fun, but use your mind and be disciplined. And so when we're doing that, we can't fake the funk. If I found out anybody faked anything, I'd choke the dog piss out of them.
Yep.
So
I told Joe, I said the first time anybody fakes something on the team, I'm off the team.
Yeah.
I won't be anywhere near it.
Exactly.
I told the other two guys that if I ever caught you faking anything, I'd make you an EVP.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to use that one. Stealing. #winning.
Yeah, that's like, that's been my big thing with any group,
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't get anything, I'll look you dead in the face and say, listen, I did this investigation for how many hours? I have wasted my life looking at the videos and going over the audio. There's nothing there, but I want to tell you that.
Right.
There's nothing there. Your place isn't haunted.
We do that a lot more.
There's got to be something. There is a logical explanation here.
Yeah.
And this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I told him. It's like, I looked dead in the face. I was like, there's one thing about this, because like Michael said, when you're doing this, you've got your reputation and nothing else. And I've worked on this for 10 years, more than 10 years I've put into this. And I was like, if I catch either one of you faking anything or even pretending about something or trying to hype something natural, I will make you a damn EVP.
Because
I don't care.
It cuts your credibility in an instant.
Yeah.
Everything that you've done up to that point is gone. It's another reason why also I verify military status by seeing I need actual visual of the DD-214. We're not having stolen valor on our team. I busted someone out in David Roundtree. I'm one of the ones that helped bust him for stolen valor and for his plagiarism and everything else that's fake. But that's a whole different story. Anyway, we don't do that as well. Once you have one question about the credibility, everything else is gone. Yeah. And I'm not willing to throw that away. I mean, granted, I'm one of those people. I've always been this way. I'm very blunt, cutthroat. It's why the military works for me. But I'm noticing my children are growing up this way. It's either real or keep walking. And I think that's what we need to bring back in, or if it's ever been here, I think some of the groups that stand like ours and like your team, we need to start coming forward. But it's just such a circus right now. It's just much more fun to stay below the radar.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Well, Mellanie, I do want to again thank you for being on and say this has been a great time with you, honestly. And of course, extend a welcome back anytime you want. Just drop me a line.
Absolutely. And you guys stay in touch with us too.
Oh, we definitely will.
One thing real quick. when you do your EVP, we had a tip the other day from a guy that investigates over in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some really good results using a digital recorder put inside a glass dish.
Oh, I get it.
The nearest thing I can figure is it acts as some kind of it might act as some kind of a superconductor. It might act like some kind of a superconductor. I don't know because of the glass. But we haven't had a chance to work on it yet. But you guys might want to give it a try. Let us know if it works for you.
Okay, we'll definitely look into that. And there are some people. We'll share resources with anybody. When it's something that deals with physics and science, we reach out to people like Mitch Silverstein, Rob Lee of Skeptics Boot. There's nothing wrong with using people that are skeptics because they can give you a different perspective, but at the same time, don't hone just to one person. For example, we send it to 2 audio engineers. We'll send certain things if they find something to 2 different linguists. So, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And so we encourage people, if they want to know resources, who can we send this to? They can always drop us a message on Facebook. We're on there, or even send us a message on our website. Either way, we'll get back to them. We always get back to them.
And what is that web address again?
www.militaryveteransparanormal.com.
All right. And there you have it, Mellanie. Again, want to thank you for coming on, and hope you have a great rest of your night. And again, like I said, I'm sure we will have you on again soon because this has been great.
Most definitely. You guys take care.
You too.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.